Okay, so what we're going to do right now is, anybody read comics? Anybody read Transformer comics? Anybody heard of something called Target 2006? Yeah, we've got a book right there. So what we're going to do is, we're going to be doing a special panel with the creators of Target 2006. But what we thought we would do, rather than me doing it, because we would get somebody who is a true fanboy, a true nerd, if you will, Mr. Nick Roche!
What an intro. Alright, okay, so here tonight we are going to celebrate, commemorate, and eviscerate the legacy that is Target 2006. It's 25 years old. Is anyone here not born in 1986? Stick your hand up. Yeah, not born. So, wow, okay, so that's it. So 1986, it is the year 1986. And Andrew and Fergie are getting married, and Dan and Ramsey are splitting up. But this couple, man, this couple. Can you please welcome to the stage the writer of Target 2006, Simon Furman, and the artist, Geoff Senior. Which one's which? Yeah.
I'm laying it on.
Alright, guys. Okay, so 1986, 25 years ago, before we start talking about the intricacies of Target 2006, the plotting, the kind of the convolutions of the time travel element, which I know Geoff is very keen to discuss, and he's got a few feelings he'd like to share about. Where were you guys in your lives 25 years ago?
Probably was pleased to be working, actually.
Yeah.
Drawing. To actually make money at doing something you enjoy doing. So I can hear my own voice. It's kind of weird because
Good voice, Geoff.
you know when you hear your own voice, I didn't know I had such an accent. But yeah, just to be actually paid for doing a job we enjoy doing. I think I was very happy just to do that, to be honest.
You were based in London, Geoff, were you?
Not then. No, I was up in Carlisle.
Where's that?
There's nothing else to do there really, apart from draw pictures. But yeah, that's where I used to live.
So yeah, you've been in the industry a few years at that stage, yeah?
Not that long. Well, it's 86, wasn't it? I'm trying to remember now. Yeah.
Has anyone got Wikipedia? No? Okay.
Yeah, I should read it, shouldn't I? I find out what I used to do.
So that's where Geoff was using Carlisle, drawing robots. Where was Simon Furman 25 years ago in his life? The mid-20s Simon Furman, wow.
25 years ago I was writing Transformers and editing Thundercats and writing probably other sort of strips like Action Force, and I was living in London, and yeah, you know, sort of it was kind of a turning point, 2006, Target 2006, just because, you know, up to that point we'd really been just sort of gently squeezing our stories in between the sort of Marvel US stories. And suddenly we had this kind of whole new thing called Transformers the movie, which gave us an absolute license in terms of story to craft our own ones. So really this was quite a sea change in terms of the story and my writing.
So the UK comics at that stage were mainly, strips were there to kind of prop up the UK, the US stories that were being published and sort of give them a little bit of lead time, so that you kind of didn't, that was a lot of the reason for the UK strips at that time, am I right?
Yeah, I mean, Marvel UK was a fortnightly, then weekly publication, so we had a certain amount of time lag before we could get the next batch of American material, which was published monthly. So we absolutely had to have something that padded out. I mean, initially it really was padding until we could get to the next little sort of bit of American story. But as I said, Target 2006 changed all that because it really was the biggest story we'd undertaken, and it actually spun off into a little sort of UK Transformers universe of our own, really.
Well, this was it, because Target 2006 was an 11-part story and it deals with characters from Transformers movie, which is just about to be released. But before that there was a story, a 4-part story, so there's actually 15 issues of uninterrupted UK strips, so I guess that would have been the biggest kind of chunk of UK originated strip up to that point, or since even? Or?
By quite a way. I'm not even sure. You might be right. Since
Yeah.
You know, it was a huge chunk, and I think that showed how slow we were, how much space we needed to fill in terms of when the next American issue was ready. And I'm pretty sure that when we started Target 2006, we had no idea where the story was going. Hence, there's a, you know, I'm maybe jumping ahead here, but there's a very sort of abrupt prelude at the end of Target 2006, which leads into the next American issue, simply because we had no idea really where they were going after issue, I think it was 20 or 21, something like that.
And so, you know, you had the Transformers movie coming, and was it a Hasbro mandate to say, look, here's this Christmas's toys are Ultra Magnus, Galvatron, Transformers movie. You've got the gap of almost 4 months to fill. These are the characters we want you to use, or were you like, I can do something with this here. I can see this could buy us a bit of space, and I'm likely to do my own thing.
No, I mean we were under a definite, you know, these are new toys. There was a big banner, the new leaders, Ultra Magnus and Galvatron, and in the way of often with Hasbro and us, what they needed in terms of their marketing push for the UK was slightly out of sync or didn't match what the UK material was up to at that point. I mean, it happened a few times with Transformers UK with headmasters and special teams, where we almost had to kind of pull our storylines forward in some forced way to get these characters in. And yeah, here we had the new launches, we had Galvatron and Ultra Magnus. That was all we had really. They had to be in there, and actually we knew as much at that point that the Americans weren't going to be featuring them. So it had to have some kind of completely tangential story strand that didn't affect what the US was doing. And at the same time, of course, there was Transformers the movie, which was where the characters were originating. And we had a script for that, we had the fact that we had to feature these toys, and we were suddenly faced with a sort of threefold question. Do we do a prequel? Do we do a story set before the movie starts? Do we try and find some little, you know, within the movie?
Something that happens off stage almost.
Exactly, yeah, kind of, you know, another act or a lost scene or something. Or do we do a sequel? And neither the prequel nor the sequel quite worked really, because the characters weren't really there. I mean, Galvatron couldn't have existed as a prequel story simply because he came about midway through the movie.
Spoiler!
And you know, the sequel didn't quite work either because so much is wrapped up in the movie and the characters are dispersed and moved on. Ultra Magnus is blown to bits, and so you know, neither of those were working. So we had to scour the movie script for a little window of opportunity, I guess, to run a story out from. And in the script was just this line after Galvatron is crowned as Decepticon leader, and he's killed Starscream, and he just says, Decepticons to Earth. And it was just like, oh, there you go, you know, there's our little lead-out line.
1986.
Yes.
Pretty good.
And you know, I mean, we were working off an early script, although I think much of it was as you saw in the cinemas, but it was at that point definitely 2006 in the script. And we were quite put out when we finally saw the thing, and it was like 2005.
Just see you screaming in a cinema full of 6-year-olds. No! It's 3 months of my life! It's 25 years of your life, Simon. So, Geoff, we're trying to do the calculations earlier on. I think this, I could be wrong and in the right place to be corrected if I am. I think this might have been your first Transformers story with Simon.
Oh gosh, that's interesting, is it?
I tried to figure out, because you did the Crisis in Command story, didn't you? Do you remember that one?
It rings a bell.
It was really good. But I think that was with James Hill. And I think Target 2006 was...
Was it the first one?
Yeah.
My goodness me.
But it's
wow.
It was the first one to see print, I guess. But you also maybe worked on Victory, which is an annual story with Grimlock and the Dinobots, and
yeah,
kind of,
I'm sure that's. I'm sure your research is
yeah,
right.
I'm sure I am too. And it's just weird because it just kind of seemed to kind of arrive fully formed as a team that worked. You know, just looking at the artwork for the 3 issues you did on Target 2006 and Victory, it's just like Geoff Senior's here. Things aren't going to be the same again. You know, it really was that impactful.
I think it's good, and And I think me and Simon always kind of, well, it's all about action, and Simon just writes punch-up kind of scenarios.
He does give a good punch-up, yeah.
And that kind of thing. So it's quite, I mean, obviously it's quite interesting to draw that kind of thing, so I think it worked well, yeah.
Can you remember if you were selected especially then to draw issue 86, which is...
I'm sure it was.
Yeah, damn right. It was the only man for the job, to be fair. Just 11 pages of two robots just punching each other. It's just... But that's I just think, and it's no offense, because every Transformers artist have their strengths, but I just don't think that issue where Ultra Magnus and Galvatron duke it out would have been as... It wouldn't have the effect that... to me, it's my favourite comic of all time, those 11 pages. It just absolutely, it's just like, if that Desert Island Comics, that's coming with me, like, it's just so good.
That's great, well, thanks, we both flattered there, Nick, definitely.
But it's funny, I mean, much as I love that issue that, you know, they're talking about issue 86, the panel with Geoff's artwork that kind of made me think, yeah, this is the artist I want to work with, was the little bit where there's a kind of sheet of metal thrown across a factory and embedded in somebody's chair.
His Scourge throws at grapple.
Yes,
yeah.
And no offence to any of the other artists, I know it wouldn't have been as amazingly, you know, the impact, you just felt it absolutely when you saw that.
That was the first Transformers comic I ever bought, and so this is why I'm here now. It's essentially both yours both. So I just want.
Cheers.
So I just want to say, for better or worse, obviously, but you know. So I just want to say thanks, Mum, thanks, Dad. So.
Well, I'm just shocked it's 25 years ago. I'm still trying to get my head around that. It's like, bloody hell.
But yeah, so speaking about issue 86, which is now recognised officially as the best comic of all time. The can you remember seeing Geoff's splash page from that of Ultra Magnus being ridden by Galvatron on a highway with cars being sort of sent scattering?
It never sounds good when you say that. Yeah.
That sounded brilliant. You know it.
I do remember, and the strange thing was at that time that I still wasn't quite aware back then that Transformers was anything other than a sort of transitory something that would die a death within a year or so.
You say that, but I read it on the plane today, and doing my homework, and it's I find it hard to believe. I mean, I do believe it. You've never lied to me yet, as far as I know. But you know, it was written with such respect for its readers. It was written. It's so nuanced. You know, there's so many little moments where it's foreshadowing the movie, but without giving anything away. And so, you must have thought people are going to get a kick out of this when they reread this after the movie.
Well, I mean, the thing with the movie is, when we first sort of heard about the animated movie cinema release, we just assumed it was going to be some kind of summer blockbuster or whatever time of the year it was released. And of course it kind of bubbled up and disappeared slightly without a trace. So we put a lot into Target 2006 on the back of it being connected to Transformers the movie. And of course, we loved it. When we saw it, we were just like, I was slightly too old for the animated show. When I saw it, it just felt very young to me, and I apologise for any TV fans.
I think it's okay for a 25-year-old at that time or whatever to say that. You know, it's fine.
But the movie just blew me away. I just thought, wow, it's the most amazing animation I've seen. It's got a great story. It kills characters off, which of course I loved. And, and I actually was really caught up in the movie and was quite sad that it didn't do better as a cinema release and everything. But yeah, I mean, really, the movie platformed and launched everything we did after that on the UK Comics. So I owe it a great debt, because whether or not we had to tie into it for the toys, for the movie, whatever else, it sort of forced out our identity with the UK comic.
Well, here's a question in regard to the movie. You said you saw it and you enjoyed it. Did you see it in the cinema? And Geoff, did you see it when it was released? Have you ever seen Transformers the movie?
Did we actually go with the Marvel UK gang?
I like to think of you all just skipping off to the cinema to watch Transformers.
We actually did go through a big screening of it, and it was great fun, and everybody enjoyed it. I mean, it wasn't just that, sort of one or two of us got a kick out of it.
What, the Thundercats guys going, Transformers the movie? Wait till you see Thundercats Ho the movie.
But, actually seeing that in a cinema is a completely different experience to seeing it on TV or DVD or, even projected here. This was full cinema sound experience, popcorn, the lot. You know, it actually was incredibly, I don't know, just impactful on the screen. It really was.
I watched the recently, yeah, it really is. It really does kind of get you, especially the first half an hour as well. It's just relentless. It's just the word I keep using about it. It just doesn't stop for a second. But can you remember if you liked it, Geoff? Do you remember? You can answer. We're all grown up.
I'll be honest, my memory's terrible with the film, but I do remember the animation was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, it really was quite dramatic and stuff. So, but yeah, I'm sure it did influence what we did.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And it actually was, you know, the little bit where Prime dies and the screen kind of fades to monochrome. I thought it was just brilliantly done. It was full of little touches like that. So
And even his voice acting in that is actually, he does bring it to the table, hasn't he? So yeah, to Geoff, kind of as an artist to an artist, as an artist who likes to take his time over his drawings, kind of how quick were you knocking these pages out then? Because they look like there's just so much energy in it. You know, it looks like you are attacking the page, but you know, you must have been using reference. You obviously were using a lot of reference. I was just wondering how that slowed you down. Did it have an effect on your?
Well, obviously we had what are they called? What are things drawn? Schematics, no schematics.
we had the animation drawings. We had the sort of line artwork
Yeah.
from the animated show.
Sheets or whatever.
Yeah.
And obviously use that as a reference, but to be totally honest with you, I mean, I, as anybody would know, a lot of my stuff doesn't actually look a lot like the actual Transformer. I kind of concentrate more on the head and the face and things like that, or whatever. But then you've got artistic license to do your own thing anyway, which I did.
At the same time, I think you work more on model than maybe you think. You know, it's kind of. I mean,
Yeah.
you definitely played with the proportions and the dynamism of
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
But
Well, I think you have to.
they were still very much the Optimus Prime the kids were seeing kind of on TV or whatever. You know.
Yeah. But yeah, we had reference to all that, and you got to stick to it. But at the end of the day, it's about trying to tell a story, and I'd rather concentrate on trying to tell a story and think, oh, is there a bolt through that guy's leg, or does he have a little catch or latch there or something? That doesn't really matter.
No.
You know,
It's good advice,
in the big
to be honest.
scheme of things.
Yeah, you should really remember
Because
that.
once you start concentrating on trying to get it right, then you forget about the storytelling. So my brain's only a certain size, so I've got to use it to tell a story.
I spoke to Will Simpson recently about Transformers and his stint on it, and he's not as warm about it as maybe other people are. I mean, I met him a few years ago at a convention. I asked him to draw me a Transformer, and I was like 15 at the time, and the man swore at me. Like, you know, it's good. Then he drew me a Transformer, but yeah, I know that he had difficulties with the reference and with kind of not being able to break them down into kind of figures that he could work with. But you seem to.
Yeah, well, obviously, them days they actually did look at robots. I have no idea how the people do it now, because it looks like a lot of spaghetti at the moment. The
The
new
movie designs and stuff. Yeah. You just refuse those jobs, is what you do.
You know, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
So I think we had it easy compared to the guys today.
I mean, the other reason Target 2006 changed everything was that actually it was the first time we had the line art, the animation model sheets. Before that, we were literally working off the pack illustrations and the toys. So, it was much easier for the artist suddenly, because instead of having to draw these slightly blocky things that didn't often move as you wanted them to move in a kind of comic strip, we suddenly had things that were designed to be moved and were streamlined and had less of the transforming bits to them.
Well, there's a famous example of the reference coming in almost in the nick of time with Target 2006, the first part, but drawn by Jeff Anderson, and the last page being the toy version of Galvatron, and then you turn trade paperback and it's suddenly animated Galvatron. You know, it's kind of obviously the reference came in a bit late in the day there, so it's just fascinating to see that, I think. So what was the reaction from the higher ups then? Can you remember, Simon, did Hasbro give any positive feedback, or Marvel US, or even the higher ups of Marvel UK? Did they say, yeah, you're doing a good job with our toys here, keep it up, or?
I mean, I actually don't remember any kind of feedback. Hasbro were actually fairly, non-interventional, really. Hasbro UK were very good. Occasionally there would just be a launch we had to key in with, but otherwise I don't remember any kind of interference in our stories. And by the same token, I don't remember any feedback on our stories either. I don't think they said, yeah, well done, that got those two leaders in there very well. So I just think it was kind of, as long as we didn't not do those things, we were okay, and they gave us that license and freedom to sort of throw, I don't know, Death's Head in there and Centurion and some other characters that we made up. And I'm just not sure how much Hasbro would wear that now, because you know, we were allowed to do our own thing, to craft our own characters, and you know, I'm not sure that's quite as, you know, in the kind of corporate world of Transformers and comics these days, that you can do that without immediately having some kind of copyright issues or ownership issues. So yeah, you know, actually Hasbro were great with us, and you know, those who criticise Bob Budiansky's writing, I would say the poor guy just had to do what we did every now and then, every issue, times about 8. We get about so many new characters into each issue, whereas we had this strange luxury of just, well, telling the stories we wanted to tell. So I think we were very lucky in many ways.
Then, talking about feedback, I believe you were pals with Grimlock, the letters page arter of Transformers at the time. Did Grimlock ever tell you whether it was getting good reactions? That there was did you notice that there was like a sea change in the readers' letters at all? Or?
Oh, it's kind of funny now because we're so used to conventions and forums and everything else and this instant feedback. But in the day, the letters page was a slow process, and you know, the letters from Target 2006 will get published maybe 6 or 7 issues later, and so by then we'd almost moved on as well. And yes, we were happy, obviously, when people were enjoying what we were doing, but strangely, the letters page became far more this sort of strange interactive, get the fans wound up about things.
They read brilliantly on their own even after all this time, you know, just the sort of the debating of young children, basically, by a dinosaur robot. It's amazing.
But, you know, I mean, my first job was working on Scream, an IPC comic, which was a sort of kids' creepy/horror comic. And you know, right from the start, from Tharg on 2000 AD to a character called Ghastly McNasty, who was the editor of Scream, we were
What's he doing now?
We were kind of taught this interaction with the audience, of involving people, and I'm sure that came from kind of Stan Lee's Marvel, where he managed to involve the readers on a sort of level that maybe DC had never done. You know, he had his soapbox, he had food, he had all these things that sort of drew the readers into the larger world of it. And I think, you know, 2000 AD had that with Tharg, and then I kind of just rolled that on into those letters pages, and kids loved it. The ruder we were, the better reaction we got.
You felt like you were part of it, didn't you? And that was, like I said, Stan Lee thing, it's a good method to kind of run with. So Target 2006, around this time, there was like TV advertisement for Target 2006, wasn't there? I remember seeing that and just kind of blowing my mind a little bit, and no YouTube footage of it exists. And
I was on telly as well.
I remember you on television. I remember you on Get Fresh on the weekend with Gaz Top.
Me and Gaz Top.
Yeah, hair and teeth.
Yeah. And Swing Out Sister were your co-guests on it? Yeah. Where are they now, eh? Not here, right? So was this around the time then that the comic was selling 200,000 copies a week?
I think this is before that.
I
think it built up to that over the next, I don't know, sort of 6 months or so. But yeah, certainly by, you know, end of 86, early 87, we were in that kind of bracket.
So if there was a 5-week month, you were selling 1 million Transformers comics a month?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm on a lot of royalties.
1 million Transformers comics a month. Destroying a generation of children, for the better, I think, you know.
But you know, comic sales figures were just in a different ballpark back then. And you know, I mean, we used to have a friendly rivalry at Marvel UK with the 2000 AD guys, you know, who was selling the most, and you know, we used to play softball and...
But you were able to go toe to toe with the Target 2000 AD, with the 2000 AD comic. I mean, you were kind of able to match them, kind of. Yeah, I mean, you know.
No, I think for a while we were maybe outstripping them. So
yeah, eat it, Dread. Sorry, I was just gonna think about figures and stuff like that. I love it. So the story itself, still, like as I say, it holds up. I read it today. I was just really impressed with kind of the maturity of it, you know, and just kind of how it mirrors the actual Transformers movie, in as much as all your favorite characters are getting bumped off kind of quite early on, you know, and it's like, Optimus Prime disappears in the first chapter with Prowl and Ratchet, and it's like, oh, that's a bit shocking. But when Jazz gets shot, you're like, jazz as well. You know, I think even Hound says that. I think it's not jazz too, and it's I was just kind of impressed in that you were able to be so ruthless with it without actually doing any permanent damage. You know, that's what Simon has to say about that. All right. I'll try and have something formed as a question then that you could.
I mean, interesting when I look back at Target 2006, which I did briefly, and you know, you can see all my influences start to sort of creep into my writing in Target 2006. The whole bookend idea of these 11-page strips is epitomised in that one that I think Geoff drew, where it starts off with Jazz's eyes across, or is it Starscream?
Yeah, it starts off with Starscream, ends with Jazz.
It ends with Jazz, and you know, and I could see all my sort of Stanley, Alan Moore influences creeping into my writing in that.
But
I look back at
that's what I mean. It's a comic for ostensibly, you know, kind of 8-year-old boys, and it's got like, you know, these amazing symmetrical framing sequences. You know, like it's got, you know, it's just so impressive. I did have a question. Well, yeah, here's a question. So this around this time, just very briefly, I'll talk to Geoff about drawing in a minute and stuff. It just kind of feels like we've just sort of like left you out over there. But we knew this was going to happen anyway, though, didn't we?
What?
This.
Yeah, exactly. No, just on the frame things. I remember about storytelling. There's a lot of wacky frame things going on, and there probably still is. But we try to tell a story that's easy to read, because at the end of the day, you should be able to read a page quite easily. And that's one of the things I tried to do as well.
No, you definitely did it, but looking back on it as well, it's still very readable. And I read it when I was like 6 or whatever, but it was you know, there's still some nice panel design going on there. There's like curious shaped panels. It's visually interesting.
You can sort of curious shaped panels, but it's still got to be laid out in a way that the eye follows it. It's not where does my eye go now? That's when people get confused. And once you put that link, that chain of where your eye goes, then I think you lose the plot basically. So it's got to be you can have different shaped panels, but as long as he reads, that's important. Just as an artist.
No, it definitely does. I mean, there's one scene in the show where Jazz is like baiting Galvatron, and he tells him to shut up or whatever, and but it ends on a black panel, and you know that was kind of strange to me as a young child, but it's such a nice, and again, something you wouldn't maybe expect to see in that. It just kind of ends in a black panel overlaid onto a larger panel with the lettering kind of continuing onto it. It's hard to explain. You got to read it. It's very good. But yeah, it's really impressive. Do you remember, Simon? You know, you get rid of Optimus Prime, you get rid of Prowl and Jazz and all this stuff. Just very briefly, stepping out of Target 2006 for a second. Did you know where they went at that stage? Did you have the issue 100 cyber monkey idea laid out?
I'd love to say yes.
Say it then. Yes. Oh man, what a guy!
No, I'm not sure I did actually. I think, you know, it was, you know, there's been a displacement. Are they in the future? Are they somewhere else? It just became later. We had to think, oops, where have they been? And maybe we should do that story of where they've been. So, you know, I think that was probably a solution to a problem.
Yeah. Well, just before we wrap up then, Geoff, unbidden, unprompted, is there anything you can remember from that time? It doesn't have to be drawing Transformers. It can remember just your life. And that's really sarcastic. It's like, oh, Geoff, can you remember anything? No, I mean, can you remember anything, Geoff? No, can you remember just what it was like? You know, just, you know, can you remember? You know, oftentimes when I'm drawing, I have music on, and sometimes when I read back on all the stuff that I've done, I can remember, oh, I was listening to that, I was watching that, I was going through that. Can you think?
Well, 1986, I mean, just working on it. I remember I enjoyed doing it.
Yeah. That's good to hear.
That's a good start.
Did you have a studio?
What, in 1986?
Yeah.
No, I used to work from home and stuff like this.
So what was it like, the kitchen table?
No, it was.
Your mum bringing you cups of tea?
It was an old bureau. I think my dad had bought an old bureau. It was one of the things you fall down, you know, like a proper writing thing.
Yeah.
But I also had a kind of a strange curved chair with no handle outside, and I could open the drawer, put my feet on it, and I had a drawing board. And I could draw like that. It was great. I wasn't like a guy with a desk.
Yeah.
No, like you think of an artist.
Yeah.
I literally was, because this chair was low, I pulled the bottom drawer, put my feet on, I had a bit of wood, And it was great. It's like reclining and drawing. It was brilliant, and it's so comfortable.
I want one of these.
Yeah, they should make them. It really is, and it's because I've never had a drawing board like that at all. A proper drawing, with a slider and shit like that.
And what was your page rate like? You know, in terms of how quickly you turned out a page.
The page rate wasn't bad. I mean, obviously I didn't colour; it was just black and white, wasn't it?
Well,
I did about a page and a half, 2 pages a day, but it's
2 pages a day.
But what was that? I mean, you just do 1 page a day because it's nice, easy work.
Yeah, you can have time to watch the neighbours at 1 and half 5 pence.
So it was good. It was good.
Yeah.
They were the easy days. I mean, advertising. They go, what work faster now?
Yes,
But no, it was good, and it's actually quite relaxing because when you're drawing and lining in and inking in, as you know yourself, it's just really relaxing.
Oh, it's
doing the art thing.
It's a different mindset. It's not a conscious like I am drawing a line, I am drawing a face.
Exactly. It's just it's very relaxing and stuff. So, but the trouble was I was a single guy then, and there was days went by when I just thought, hang on, I haven't said a word to another living person, or I'd go and buy a loaf of bread, and that was thank you, and that was it.
Yeah.
You know? So there is a loneliness to being an artist.
No, there definitely is. Even if you're living with someone, I mean, you can if they leave you in that room to your own devices and you don't come out.
There you are.
Yeah, it could be a few days before the cup of tea appears. So yeah, and your memory of that time, Simon, to wrap up, 1986, Simon Furman, Man About Town.
I was 86. Let me think. I was. The thing is, because I was working full time at Marvel UK, all my writing was done either evening or very late at night, and you know I wasn't beyond, I have to confess, going out for the evening and then just starting work. So some of these scripts got turned out, you know, over the course of a night or a very sleepless night. So everything was done at such a pace, and I didn't think about it then, probably because I was a shade younger, but no, I mean, somehow I did a full day's work and then also sat down and wrote scripts.
So you mean you were working as like an editor at Marvel during the daytime, then coming home and rattling off a few scripts?
Exactly.
Wow. It's a young man's game, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Couldn't do it now.
Well, I think that about wraps it up, unless anyone else has a burning target 2006 matter that they need resolved. To be honest, I think that the guys resolved it pretty well themselves. It's a pretty good story, so you should definitely check it out. Okay. So, we say thanks again to Geoff Senior, and thanks again to Simon Furman. Thanks for that, well done, chaps.
Thank you for giving me.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click on the like button and leave us a comment below. Also, spare a moment to share this video on Twitter, Facebook, and all your social media pages. To get updates on all of our latest videos delivered straight to your inbox, subscribe now using the link on the screen.